Liesl goes to Anna, and two women find unexpected common ground. Oh, darlings, this first story is one that is going to touch something very deep inside every single person watching, because it is not just about a mother who refuses to believe her son is gone. It is about two women who spent years on opposite sides of everything finally finding their way to the same place. And the place they meet is grief. And love. And the particular kind of stubborn hope that only the people who have lost the most understand. Liesl is not doing well. How could she be? In an impossibly short stretch of time, this woman has lost more than most people lose in a lifetime. She watched the son she thought had come back to her turn out to be someone else entirely, a truth that was devastating in its own complicated way. She found a way to accept Cassius for who he actually was. She let herself love him as himself rather than as the ghost of someone she had already grieved. And then she was told he was gone too. Shot on a pier. Just like Nathan. The parallel is not lost on Liesl. It is not lost on any of us. And it is certainly not going to be enough to make her simply accept the official version of events and move on quietly. Because here is what Liesl knows from lived, painful, personal experience. The WSB has lied about deaths before. People who are supposed to be gone have turned out to be very much alive, hidden away, kept in the dark by an organization that decided the truth was inconvenient. She lived through that with Britt. She held her daughter as she appeared to die and then spent years grieving, only to find out much later that Britt had been retrieved, revived, and blackmailed into silence by the very people who were supposed to be trustworthy. If that happened once, with her own daughter, under her own nose, why on earth would she simply take Z's word for it about Cassius? Why would she bow her head and accept classified status as an answer when her son's life is the question? She will not. And the person she is going to turn to is Anna. Now, the history between Liesl and Anna has not always been warm. There were years of genuine animosity between them, rooted in a shared history with a man who was never worthy of either of them. Liesl spent far too long competing with a ghost, trying to measure herself against someone else's obsession. And Anna, for her part, was never entirely comfortable with the complicated feelings that history stirred up. But time has a way of burning away the things that were never worth holding on to in the first place. And what remains between Anna and Liesl now is something much more interesting than old rivalry. It is mutual understanding, mutual respect, and a shared knowledge of exactly what it feels like to lose someone and then be told the loss was not what it appeared. Anna knows grief that turned out to be premature. She carried the weight of believing someone was gone and then had to rebuild her world when that turned out not to be true. She understands the specific disorientation of mourning someone who might still be breathing somewhere. And that shared experience is exactly why Liesl is going to her door. Liesl does not need Anna to explain the truth about Cassius. She already knows his story, heard it from him directly, while they were both held captive. What she needs is someone who will understand why she cannot simply grieve and move on. Someone who will not dismiss her instincts as denial. Someone who might still have one uncorrupted contact somewhere inside that organization, one thread worth pulling. Whether Anna is in a position to be that person right now, given everything she is quietly carrying, is the question that makes this scene so layered and so genuinely tense to watch. Sonny gets dumped. Sidwell explodes, and Liz finds something that does not add up. Oh, darlings, if you thought Thursday in Port Charles was going to be a quiet day, the show has an emphatic answer for you. Because the preview for this episode is absolutely loaded. Sonny is getting dumped. Sidwell is furious and looking for someone to blame. Liz is staring at something that makes no sense to her. And Chase is at it again, defending Willow so fiercely that he is careening straight toward the edge of something he cannot come back from. Let us start with Sonny, because this one is genuinely surprising in the best possible way. Justine has been navigating her romance with Sonny carefully, aware from the beginning that complications were baked into the situation from every direction. But she managed those complications. She worked around them. She convinced herself she could keep the personal and professional separate enough to make this work. And then Molly said something that Justine could not unhear. It came up almost casually, the kind of observation that lands quietly but then keeps expanding the longer you sit with it. Molly pointed out that Sidwell represented one conflict of interest. But so does Sunny. Justine had examined the Sidwell angle from every direction and made her peace with it. But the Sunny factor, somehow she had been looking past it. Not ignoring it, exactly. Just not examining it with the same honest clarity she brought to everything else. The moment Molly named it, Justine could not unsee it. And a woman as principled as Justine, once she sees something clearly, cannot pretend she does not. So she ends it. She goes to Sunny and she delivers the kind of breakup that is clean and honest and comes from a place of genuine self-respect. She is not angry at Sunny. She is not blaming him for anything he did. She is simply being honest that this particular romance in her particular professional position was always going to become too complicated. She was right about that from the beginning. And she is choosing her integrity over her feelings. Sunny is blindsided. He does not want this to end. And the question of what he does with that, whether he accepts it gracefully or starts finding ways to change her mind, is going to be very interesting to watch. Meanwhile, Sidwell, sitting in that cell, stewing and calculating and nursing every grievance, is about to erupt. Something reaches him. Information that makes him believe someone he trusted sold him out. And the confrontation he launches from behind bars is going to be explosive. When he asks someone how they could possibly betray him like this, with that particular combination of fury and wounded disbelief, it raises immediate questions about who is on the receiving end of that accusation. Jordan is moving with purpose this week, and purpose has a way of putting people directly in a furious Sidwell's crosshairs. And then there is Liz. Quietly, carefully, in the way she always notices things that other people walk past, Liz reads something. A headline. Something that crosses her desk or catches her eye. And it does not add up. The pieces do not connect in the way they should. Lucas is there when it happens, looking over her shoulder. And the two of them stand together trying to make sense of something that resists making sense. What Liz has found, and what it means for everything already in motion, is something we are going to be turning over in our minds until the next episode tells us more. Chase cannot stop choosing Willow, and Brooklyn is running out of patience. And now, darlings, we arrive at a storyline that is simultaneously maddening and completely compelling, because watching Chase spiral deeper into this pattern while Brooklyn stands there watching her marriage fray at the edges is the kind of slow-motion heartbreak that General Hospital does so masterfully well. Let us be very clear about something before we dive in. Chase is not a bad person. He is not choosing Willow because he is cruel or calculating or trying to hurt Brooklyn. He genuinely believes he is doing the right thing. He looks at what is happening to Willow, the legal pressure, the GPS evidence, the accusations, and everything in him rises up in protective fury. He cannot see injustice aimed at someone he once loved without stepping directly into the middle of it. That is who Chase is. It is a quality that is genuinely admirable in most contexts. But in this particular situation, with this particular history, aimed at this particular person, it is destroying the life he has built. This week he grills Lucy about her statement to the police. He is working every angle, pulling every thread, absolutely committed to building a case that Willow is being framed. And the painful, almost unbearable irony is that he is not entirely wrong that something deliberate happened to Willow. He just has the wrong person in the frame for it. He confronted Michael at the pool, in front of Brooklyn, no less, pointing the finger directly at him as the person responsible for Willow's current situation. Chase has decided Michael is the villain of this particular story, and he is pursuing that belief with the same intensity he brings to everything. Brooklyn is standing there watching her husband fight for his ex-girlfriend with a ferocity he has never quite aimed in her direction. She is watching him damage their marriage, risk his professional standing, and chip away at the family they have been building, all in service of someone who is not her. And Tracy, who has been trying to talk some sense into the situation, thought she was finally getting through. It briefly looked like Chase was hearing it, but here he is again. Brooklyn is closer to her breaking point than Chase realizes. She has been patient. She has been understanding. She has given him room to be who he is while quietly absorbing the costs of that. But patience is not infinite. And the moment she decides she has absorbed enough, that moment is coming. It is building with every confrontation, every defense of Willow, Every time Chase puts his ex's problems ahead of the life he and Brooklyn are supposed to be building together. And here is the devastating twist waiting on the other side of all of this. Chase is going to eventually find out the truth. He is going to discover that the person who actually fled that crash scene, who actually framed Willow, who actually set this entire legal nightmare in motion, is Brooklyn. The woman he has been married to. The woman he has been standing beside while passionately accusing someone else. That discovery is going to shatter something between them that may not be reparable. And the tragedy is that by the time Chase figures out the truth, he may have already pushed Brooklyn so far away that the revelation arrives too late to matter. Port Charles is delivering on every level this week, darlings. Liesl knocking on Anna's door with grief and questions, and a mother's refusal to accept an easy answer. Sunny standing shell-shocked while Justine walks away. Sidwell screaming betrayal from behind bars. Liz staring at something that does not add up. And Chase marching toward a cliff he simply cannot see coming. This is why we never stop watching. This is why General Hospital has held our hearts for as long as it has. Because it understands that the most compelling drama is not just the explosions, it is the quiet moments right before them. The choices people make when they believe they are doing the right thing. The love that gets tangled up with pride and history and blind spots until nobody can quite see straight anymore. And this summer is giving us all of it in abundance.